Hi, I'm Johnny Estes of CMI Gold and Silver.
And I'm Shannon Estes.
Thanks for joining our show, Johnny on the Spot, where we're going to talk about all things precious metals.
Yes, CMI Gold and Silver has been in Phoenix for more than 50 years. My father started CMI Gold and Silver in 1973. We are the oldest precious metals firm in the U.S.
You can find us on the web at cmigs.com. That's cmigs.com.
On Instagram, we are CMI Gold Silver, and on Facebook, CMI Gold and Silver.
And you can also watch this video on YouTube by searching CMIGS.
Yes. Now, today's topic is Where's the Gold? Remember?
Is that like, where's the beef?
Exactly. Remember the old ad campaign, Where's the Beef?
Where's the beef?
I don't even remember what.
Wendy's. I think Wendy's, by the way, their marketing is still like top of all the fast food chains out there.
Okay, I don't even remember what
they do some really cool stuff.
So today the topic is Where's the Gold? So Johnny, something I learned just the other day really surprised me. Did you know that private investors, people like us, actually own more gold than all the world's governments combined? But it makes sense when you think about it. If you consider all the jewelry, gold coins, and bars in people's safes, it really adds up fast.
Yeah, I mean, at the trade shows, it blows people's mind when I tell them that, and they're just kind of blown away. But keep in mind that the official reserves are still enormous. They're giant. Central banks hold about 36,000 tons of gold. Okay, it's over a fifth of all the gold that's ever mined. All right, but private ownership, that's like jewelry, bars, coins, ETFs, that totals in the public hands over 140,000 tons. And that's about 2/3 of all the gold ever mined.
So that includes about 93,000 tons in jewelry. So that 93,000 tons in jewelry is nearly half of all gold ever mined. Throughout history, we've mined 212,000 metric tons of gold, and all the gold ever mined fits into a cube about 72 feet on each side. And so that's roughly the size of 4 Olympic-sized swimming pools. So all the gold ever mined throughout history all together fits into 4 Olympic-sized swimming pools.
And I know every time we go to the jewelry store, you're trying to empty that swimming pool, aren't you?
Well, yeah.
You know. When someone actually buys from us, they buy their first investment, they're actually joining a very, very large group, the largest group in the world, and people that own gold. And that's pretty cool. It's really, really empowering to know that we own most of the gold as people.
And that is. Now, let's talk about who has the most gold. The United States is the world's largest single holder of gold with over 8,000 tons.
Yeah, over 8,100 tons. And the U.S. owns about 1/3 of the world's official gold holding. That's about 78% of our total foreign reserves. Okay, but Germany is a distant second with around 3,350 tons, with Italy and France also as major gold holders, and then Russia and China round out the top 6.
So with the U.S. in the lead, where do we store all that gold?
Well, most people think Fort Knox comes off the top of their head, but the reality is it's in many places. Other U.S. mint facilities like the West Point Mint, Colorado, those facilities hold about 95% of the 260 million troy ounces that the federal government owns, all right? And then there's the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, and they hold the remaining 5%. Now, that vault is really, really cool, and it is absolutely wild about that story.
Yes, it is 80 feet below Manhattan in New York, built right on the bedrock. So picture this. You're walking down the streets of Manhattan in New York, and 8 stories beneath your feet, there's a massive gold vault holding thousands of tons of gold.
Yeah, I've heard of people mining gold in the cracks of New York, but that's really crazy. So there's about 497,000 ounces of gold bars, all right? It's roughly 6,190 tons of gold, all right? But the funny thing is, most of that gold doesn't even belong to the United States, all right? The Federal Reserve Bank of New York is the world's largest gold repository.
That's right. The famous Manhattan Vault simply stores gold for account holders, and many of which are foreign governments and international organizations. They store it there because it's incredibly secure, and it makes gold transactions much easier.
Right. Instead of grabbing up all the gold that is traded between banks and shipped across the ocean, across the Atlantic, it just simply moves from one government organization to another by simply changing from one compartment to another. Every country has its own compartment, and they just take it out of one and they put it in the other. Essentially, it's the ultimate safe deposit box.
Yes, and so security is very, very intense because we are talking about billions of dollars in gold.
Right. But here's the cool thing. Well, at least I think it's a cool thing because I'm into mechanics. But there's a door, a round door, if you can imagine. That door weighs 90 tons. It's solid steel, and it rotates into place. And here's a cool thing. Not one person, just one person has the combination. It takes multiple federal employees and different protocols to open that. And so even one person can't get in there if they know it. It would be a heck of a thing if somebody got in there.
Well, that sounds like something out of a movie, but it makes sense when you think about what the gold represents for the countries that own it and store it at the FRBNY.
Right. I mean, it's essentially an insurance policy, right? Central banks consider that gold ownership is a kind of insurance in an uncertain world, because when currencies lose value, economies struggle. Gold has always and will always hold its worth.
And that's been true for thousands of years, which is exactly why Germany made a big move a few years ago to bring their gold back to Germany from the FRBNY.
Yeah, and that's a huge story. So let's talk about that for a second. So Germany has the second largest gold reserves in the world. But for decades, most of it wasn't even in Germany.
It was in New York, it was in Paris and London, and this goes back to the Cold War era. West Germany kept their gold abroad in case of a Soviet invasion.
Exactly, and at the time, it made total sense to keep it that way. But in 2013, the German citizens, they started asking, hey, where's the gold? Where's the beef? Where's our gold? Can we see it? Can we touch it? Can we, audit it? And the pressure got so strong that the government, I don't want to say they caved, but they decided, yeah, that's a good idea, and they brought a huge chunk of it home. And so by 2017, they reallocated back home about 743 tons from New York and Paris.
So that must have been a massive logistical operation. I mean, you're talking about moving hundreds of tons of gold across the Atlantic.
Yeah, that would just be a crazy thing. And I think about container ships, losing containers. That would be a very expensive container. But it was huge. And it sends a clear message. And that clear message, Shannon, is physical possession matters. All right? They wanted their gold on their home turf, their home soil, so they could see it, control it, and know where it was.
They're not the only ones. Poland, Hungary, Austria, they've all been doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's kind of a global trend. It's not kind of, it is a global trend. Countries want sovereignty over their reserves. And honestly, that's really the same reason that everyday folks like us should own physical gold and not just paper representations. Gold, after all, Shannon, is the ultimate currency. And there are some 3 primary functions of money or currency that needs to be considered. One is a medium of exchange, all right? It facilitates a transaction between buyers and sellers, right? A second one is it's a store of value, and it maintains its purchasing power like gold has over literally thousands of years, all right? And it's a unit of account. So it provides a common measurement, which is the troy ounce, which is could be a whole nother show about troy ounces versus avoirdupois versus grams. It all gets muddied in there. But to be money, there needs to be 6 essential characters. All right, and I just want to go over those 6 essential characters. The first one is durability. All right, it's got to withstand physical wear and tear, and it doesn't lose value when it's reshaped or mishandled. It's got to be portable, so it's easy to carry and transport, even though 743 tons of gold probably wasn't that easy to transport. Not many of us have that much. And then there's divisibility. It's got to be able to be divided into smaller units, okay? And it has to be uniformity, or kind of a funny word, fungibility, meaning that each unit is identical and interchangeable, so it has the same quality, okay? And there's a limited supply, or it's scarce. It can't be easily reproduced or replicated. And then, of course, there's acceptability. It's widely recognized as and accepted as payment, which gold has been and will continue to be for thousands of years.
Yes, and so gold fits all of these 3 primary functions of currency and 6 characteristics of money. So, for example, I don't know if anybody noticed, but if you take dollar bills,
Turn them around the other way so they can...
or hundreds or whatever you have, and you take money and you tear it up into tiny, there's a lot of money here, tiny little pieces, they're now worthless. Those bills, that currency is worthless. But if you take a piece of gold, no matter what size it is, and you melt it, divide it, you make it into smaller pieces, it can be reshaped and reformed into smaller units, and its value is the same as if were this one unit. Even if you divide it and you put those units together in a bag, its value as one or individuals, it's still there. It has value. Right. So, speaking of, let's get back to the topic about where's the gold. Speaking of countries accumulating gold, let's talk about what's been happening with the BRICS nations, because China and Russia especially have been buying gold at record levels.
Yeah, so BRICS, just for everybody's information, it stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Now, just like other countries, they've been stockpiling gold like crazy. China, in fact, has increased its gold reserves threefold, okay, in the past 20 years. And now is the world's largest gold producer at about 370 tons per year.
So they're keeping almost all of it domestically, and this is important. They're not exporting it. They're mining it, and they're keeping it. Additionally, they are accumulating it.
Yeah, and on top of what they produce, they import massive amounts of gold. And Russia's been essentially doing the same thing since 2014.
So why the sudden rush to gold, Johnny?
Well, just like we should be doing, they're diversifying away from a fiat currency, or a currency that can be manipulated and printed at will. They want assets that they can control, and gold fits that bill perfectly, and it has, Shannon, for thousands of years, and we keep saying that, but I don't think it's going to change.
I don't think so. And when you see the world's largest economy stockpiling gold, it tells you something about where they see real value and security.
Right, and essentially, if it's good enough for central banks, it ought to be good enough for each and every one of us, and that's how we protect ourselves from those negative things of inflation and uncertainty.
Yes, and so governments accumulating gold affects global supply. When major producers like China are keeping their gold and continuing to buy, it's a telling sign for all investors to buy your own gold.
Yeah, so if you're thinking about buying gold, I'd say don't wait, even if prices are high. Every day I think I talk to some investors who are just waiting for that right time, that dip or that low point or that high point to sell. But the challenge really isn't predicting the perfect entry point, all right? But it's recognizing that there rarely is one. The old adage, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. Second best time, that'd be today or right now. And I say this a lot to a lot of people. With precious metals, it really should be the most boring investment you ever make, because you're going to buy it and it's going to sit there and you're going to forget about it and you're just going to keep adding to it. But it's the ultimate way to be safe and secure. And if we all can agree that safety, Shannon, is not exciting. Safety is usually boring. I mean,
peace of mind.
Well, yeah, when your mom would tell you to wear your bicycle helmet. I mean, that's boring. That's not cool, but it's peace of mind. And we really try to shy people away from a lot of fear-mongering that's going on right now in the markets that has been going on forever, and it'll continue to go on. So essentially, our advice is if you're feeling pressured or anxiety, you might have the right idea to buy precious metals, but you might be talking to the wrong dealer.
So if you want to get started or just have questions, you can give us a call at 800-528-1380. There's not going to be any pressure. We're just going to have a conversation and see what makes sense for you.
Yeah. So now we've talked about who owns the gold and where it's stored, but let's talk about where it comes from, which is mining.
So the top gold-producing countries are China, Australia, Russia, the United States, and Canada.
Yeah, so the U.S., we produce about 190 tons a year, mostly from Nevada. And Nevada has some very rich gold, some of the most richest gold deposits in the world. But you know something, Shannon? Your dad wrote an article in March of 2011. I looked it up on our website that was named the world's 10 most prolific gold fields. And it was a very interesting read, and I really enjoyed it. Just more recently, in August of last year, we decided to redo that article. You can look at on our website, you just search for 10 most prolific, and both articles will come up, the one from 2011 and the one from 2024. But there are some really significant changes that's happened since then.
Just in 15 years.
Yes.
As to who are the 10 most prolific. And let's just talk a little bit about South Africa, because they're part of the BRICS nation, and they are a major player. And they used to be the king of gold production.
Right.
They've slowed down, but they still have some of the deepest mines in the world.
Yep. From what we understand, they're over 2 miles underground. And it's really hard. It's very dangerous work, and it's very expensive. But that's part of why gold is so valuable, because it's rare, it's difficult to extract, and you can't reproduce it. You can't just print more gold. I mean, we're not Midas, right?
I love that about gold. It's tangible, finite, rare, and a great portfolio diversifier. It's a powerful store of wealth. Let's go over this again about those three primary functions of money, of a currency.
Yeah, please do so, because it's important.
You mentioned the medium of exchange. It facilitates transactions between buyers and sellers. It's a store of value. It maintains its purchasing power over time. It's a unit of account. It provides a common measure of value that everyone understands. And then you've got additional 6 characteristics of money. Its durability. It's going to withstand wear and tear. It doesn't lose value when it's reshaped or handled. It's portable. It is a little on the heavy side sometimes, but you can move it and carry it and transport it. And it's divisible. It can be divided into smaller units, as we talked about. It's uniform. Each unit is identical and interchangeable, and it's also known as fungibility in the sense that you take a little piece off of a gold bar and you take another piece, and both pieces are identical and the same value. And we just talked about the scarcity. It's a limited supply, and it's acceptable. It's widely acceptable and has been for thousands of years as payment for goods and services.
I mean, essentially, if your house burned up and your safe was stacked full of cash, and that's just gone. But at least with gold and silver, it'll be melted. It'll be there in the ground, and you can recover it. So
do something else with it.
Right, and they can't hack your account and take your gold out of your bank account. So that's important. But you know something, at our company, CMI Gold and Silver, we are all about helping Americans find that peace of, and security of precious metals. And for us, it's whether you're buying for your first time or you're a seasoned investor. We're here to help. We really, truly want to help you diversify your portfolio and feel that safety and security. I'm going to interject. I'm going to go off a little bit, interject something. I got to tell you guys, everybody, that before I was married, my beautiful wife, Shannon, I was living the American dream, and I could spend my past, future, and present wealth faster than anybody out there. Man, I was just looking for any way to spend it. I was terrified to invest $1 because I didn't have $1 to invest. Shannon taught me about saving. I married into the family. I learned about gold and silver. And because we own gold and silver ourselves, I feel so much more comfortable to invest some other money. And because I feel comfortable, I'm actually able to do a little bit more risky investments because, risk and reward. And so I think that that's done very well for us. So thank you for teaching me that lifelong principle, Shannon.
Well, thank you. I think it was my father more than anybody, and he did say something to me in the last couple of years that kind of threw me for a loop in the sense that because it was very sincere, and it's not just a saying, a cliche. He really wants Americans to get the most metal into their hands for the fewest paper dollars, and that's part of the reason why we keep our premiums as low as possible, because he does feel that everyone, everywhere will be better off owning some gold and silver, and that'll make the country better as well.
Yeah, and I think that we've learned that lesson. We have both of our children, our son and our daughter, at the company now, and we're passing that along to them because we really firmly believe that. So please give us a call. We just want to help everybody protect their family's wealth and their well-being. And we just firmly believe that the more people that own gold and silver, the better off our country can be and will be. So,
yes, so that's all we have time for today. But if you'd like to learn more about gold, silver, or even platinum and palladium, you can visit our website, cmigs.com, or call us during our regular business hours at 800-528-1380.
And just to reiterate, we're family-owned, been in business since 1973. When you call up, you're going to be speaking to a non-commissioned broker. That means that you are able to call and ask questions, and we're not going to ask you for a sale. We're not going to pressure you. When you do make a transaction, we're not going to hound you and bug you about the next greatest deal. It's almost kind of a detriment sometimes, but you have to call us to place a trade, and I think that that's important. But at any rate, we just want to thank you guys for joining Johnny on the Spot. Hopefully we're getting better. Hopefully our videos are more entertaining. We try to make it. And as this is kind of a new venture for us, we are trying to do better each day. So please take care, and we will talk to you next time.
Yeah, next Saturday morning, 7:30, also a.m. on the Patriot 960 KKNT. Thank you so much.